All right, guys, in today's video, we're gonna be going over basically how to survive a bronze lobby. Now, not all matches are winnable, believe it or not. If you're a high ranked player that just happens to be grinding through bronze, for sure, you can carry your way to victory as a DPS or a tank. But for the common bronze player, it is really hard to win a game when your team's just absolutely throwing. So what we're going to be doing here is just talking about the different things we need to be doing as players in order to solidify the W. Now, we'll be covering more healing because that's what I'm doing, but I will be touching on tanking as well as being a decent player. So right now, I want to go ahead and freeze this, and I want to talk about something and just take a look around of what's going on, because this is real confusing. So I've been here for a while. If you didn't notice in the beginning, I was healing our diva. I've been putting down some DPS and some heals as well. And finally arriving to the party is, well, our 2 DPS. Now, I'm not too sure why they're late. This happens a lot. People queue for ranked and they're not ready. It's not like we're masters or top 500 and we're going for, we have to wait for a queue. Bronze and silver and gold are pretty fast. So unfortunately, we already had a disadvantage. This is a choke point. Areas like this are choke points that you want to hold. It allows you to waste a little bit of time off the enemy's clock, allowing you to, again, get less time between points. If you give up the first point initially, it's going to be very hard for you guys to solidify the W and stop the push. Well, let's continue real quick. I'm trying my best to play the point and hold the point by myself until my DPS decides to help out. They finally are, but unfortunately, it's a little too late. Now, me right there, I should have backed away. All right, so as a player, you got to kind of play for the team's strengths. Now, you'll notice that I switched characters a few times throughout this match because I'm trying to get a vibe of what our team's doing. If our DPS is putting off enough DPS, enough damage, usually I'll stay away from Moira and I'll go with a Lucio or a Baptiste or an Ana, something like that. So I've already switched. I don't stick with Lucio this push. I do switch back to him next push. Now here I am pushing up. There's really no reason for me to be this far. I'm just trying to stop the timer. Realistically, there's no way I would have been able to do it solo versus 5. And sure, Lucio's got movement, he can skate around it, but unless you're an absolute goat at skating and on the other side of the ball, the team is an absolute freaking bot, you're gonna get wiped every time. So here we are at a choke point. Not really a good one for either team. We just happen to be in this spot. And again, you don't want to shoot Zarya when she's bubbled. So I made a mistake, got some shots off. Finally, again, stop shooting. You see that again. I go to shooter, bubbles, I stop shooting. Make sure you guys are paying attention to that. I see way too many times people just spamming the crap out of her when she's bubbled. All right, diva going in. Now let's talk about something real quick. So tanks have a responsibility as players to play somewhat with the team. Now that I know a lot of tanks are like, wait. There are definitely, Winston players out there. Dive tanks, I get that, and she's definitely a dive tank as well. Diva is, I would definitely consider a dive tank, but we are not around her. We are not ready. We were already in the choke point, so we really can't help out at all. What you guys want to do when you are dive tanking is just wait for your team to be ready. We have an Ana back here that's putting some heals on her, and of course you have me. But again, dude, they've already unlocked this point. There's really no reason for Diva to be diving behind enemy lines when it's actually basically a 3v4 or a 3v5 because Zarya's right there. But Ana can't really do much of anything, and we're down a DPS also, so we're at a massive disadvantage. And again, we're pushing behind enemy lines. I'm all for it if you guys are on fire, if everyone's in sync, but if you guys are lacking DPS, if you're lacking a member of your team and you're already struggling, hence them blowing past the first point in a matter of a couple seconds, do not get that aggressive. Play a little bit more passive, slow it down, resync. Playing with random people in ranked is the most toxic thing ever. You'll get teams where you're just blowing through people. Next game, you'll get literally a DPS, a tank, a healer that just eats Crayola crowns for breakfast. So it gets weird. So you got to play together, man. You don't want to tilt on your team, but you definitely want to give advice. So that's something we should have done right there. All right, we're gonna go ahead and go back to me now. Because of my DPS and my tank kind of just sending it in here, I'm always gonna stick with my DPS. Unless they are actually getting wiped out, I will stick with them. And me saying all that leads me to say I died for the team. I died with the team. Granted, I could have done a lot more to avoid the Zarya ult, but unfortunately, it is what it is. Now, you see that I switched back to Moira. I realized that the Moira play wasn't a good play initially just because of my team comp and how they were playing. It didn't vibe well, but now I notice our DPS is lacking big time. So now I'm switched off to her so I can do both. I'm sitting behind enemy lines. There's really no play to this. I'm just trying to get the high ground so I can support my players as much as possible. Now let's go ahead and talk about Snow real quick. I don't understand why she decided to dive in by her lonesome. Again, there's really not much team comp going on. We have 2 DPS in the front line. Our tank is coming from spawn back here to the right hand side. So as a DPS player, the last thing you guys want to do is, again, just kind of dive out into the middle of nowhere. And that's exactly what Snow does, unfortunately. You know, Mays are awesome, and I get, you know, you have that ability to freeze yourself and heal, but again, you don't want to rely on that, because the moment you come out of that shell, you're going to get waxed. There's so much to talk about with this team. I'm gonna try not to make this a long ass video, but there's a lot of lessons to be learned. So we have a diva coming up. Now I want everyone to pay attention to what's going on right now. One, the only enemy pushed up is Zarya. Everyone else is way back under me for whatever reason. They're playing passive. Not a bad idea. Complete opposite of my team that's on the front lines just tanking everything. May. But this diva ult just seems a little premature. I mean, first off, the only DPS has this to hide. Secondly, you don't just stand still and launch your ult. You have to dive her. She's a dive tank. You also have to dive ult, hit the enemies. The enemies are definitely under me. So if Diva would have sent this ult over here, they would have killed 1, 2, and of course 3. But she didn't. She prematured that big time, and it led to another failed attempt to stop their push. Just something, again, you just got to be aware of as players. DPS, tank, healer, support, whatever you want to call everybody, whatever role you have, it doesn't matter. Now look at this. Again, we have Diva up here soloing the entire fight. Now you might be wondering, why am I not healing? Well, the reason I'm not healing is because I know I'm behind enemy lines. I know that if this Junkrat or any of these players come at me, I'm gonna have to heal myself to get out. There's physically nothing I can do as a support player to heal that Diva right now fast enough. Impossible. If I launch an orb on her and then body stack her and just literally barrel stuff her with heals from my hands, it still wouldn't heal her in time. They do too much damage. They do way too much damage compared to the heals that I put off at one given time, not to mention get me killed too. So I just kind of held my ground. Say what you want with it, you know, it could be a mistake, could not be a mistake. I probably should be playing on the bridge with my squad. So am I perfect in this? Absolutely not. But again, Diva just making some massive mistakes right now. All right, so right here, guys, what are we doing? We have they just hit a checkpoint, right? They're now on the second checkpoint, heading to the third. We've got a 4v5 going on right here in the healer / support, myself, and way back here. Now let's see what exactly is going on before we continue this push. Now again, May is on the front lines. Play your characters how you want. If you guys like to play aggressive Mays, I'm not talking trash. I'm just pointing out, if you're a player like this that doesn't have that capability to play an aggressive May, slow it down. So many times players will watch goated players who are way higher ranked than they are, and they'll play aggressive. And they're like, well, that's what I need to do. But that's completely, absolutely wrong. You need to play for the team comp. And again, they've been blowing through these points. So clearly whatever has been happening with the squad is the wrong thing. So we need to adapt. We need to change. All right, so we're down bad. We're doing absolutely terrible. The squad is not doing good. We have a terrible team comp. And again, you just see us going, basically getting picked off one at a time. The enemy squad is doing a really good job of pushing the tank in while the DPS sits back and supports the tank, while the support sits back and also supports their players as well. Now this right here, I kind of wasted an ult, to be 100% honest. Right when I hit my Q, my ult, so did our tank, and it was just an unfortunate timing, but still got the job done. I was able to get 2 of them. He was able to get 3, so we got a nice little team wipe, which really held them off. So even though if I could go back, I wouldn't have used the ult. It still worked out for the best. All right, Junkrat's ult's coming. I'm gonna try to hide a little bit, launch an orb at my teammates, see if I can help them, but luckily they destroyed it before they even needed my heal orb. And again, dude, a lot of Moiras, and I'm gonna put out a better Moira guide because, dude, I feel like a lot of players, especially bronze, silvers, They don't understand that Moira is a great character. A lot of people have a meme with her about, oh, if you want to be a support does DPS, play Moira. And you're 100% right. She's probably one of the best. She might be the best DPS support player out there. But if you focus on Moira just to poke like I am, pushing players back, and if you really focus on healing, you can do 15, 20K healing a match and be detrimental to your team. And at the end of the day, you definitely want to poke, you definitely want to get some kills, you definitely want to put some damage on the enemies, but at the end of the day, healing your squad should be and always should be your priority. This is unfortunate. A lot of times this happens, and you know what? They were going back to Ana, so I'm not really mad, but I'll go to turn to heal somebody, end up chasing them, launch an orb, they run from the orb. It's a little miscommunication just because a lot of people don't utilize voice chat, which is very unfortunate. If you guys are playing ranked, you're not using voice chat, man, you're really putting yourselves at a massive disadvantage, especially as you enter higher tier ranks. So right here, again, I noticed that Mei launches her ult. I bail out using my shift, and I throw an orb instantly in the middle of it just to try to help out. It doesn't work. Our tank dies instantly, but it's still, I'm going to throw an orb out there to try to help. You'll see these yellow orbs just constantly being spammed, mostly because they disappear, and 2 seconds later, you have another one. So literally, you can consistently heal your squad and only be missing about 2 seconds per, I guess, round of heals. So heal for 6 seconds, idle for 2, heal for 6 seconds, idle for 2. So you're literally doing healing 75% of the time you're on the map, theoretically. Again, coming in, just instantly spamming that. Not really much we can do, but we just got to try our best to stay on the point and stop the enemies from pushing in. I probably should have played back a little bit more to, again, maybe get another orb off, maybe not just commit to it and get caught in that Junkrat's trap, but you know, it is what it is. So we're gonna move on to the second round. This one right here is a little bit more infuriating, and this thing does go to overtime. That's why I chose this match, because the ending will just blow you away. All right, so we're back. Launch an orb instantly. You know damn well they're gonna be spamming that, and players are gonna take damage. So luckily, and this is something I like to see a lot, and I think a lot of Mei players don't really realize what they're doing when they do this. It happens with my teammates, it happens with the enemies. I see this a lot. A lot of times Maze will just throw up a random wall for no reason at all. Not really sure why. The whole point for them holding that corner right here, the whole point for her being under here is to put damage on us as we're leaving our spawn. What Mei did was just block literally 90% of their visual, all their players but one, so they can't do that anymore. So it allows us to push up a little bit closer to the choke point and get some more damage off on the enemies. Also allows us to heal, allows us to regroup, allows our cooldowns to reset without worrying about them putting damage on us. Now, as a Mei player, something you could do is bait us up a little bit further and then launch this wall so we can't bail backwards. That's a tactic I see a lot. In higher tier ranks, especially pro games. You want to use that wall to block off enemies from pushing you if you're about to die. You want to use that wall to trap enemies in a corner, trap them like how I just described, put it behind our back and don't let us escape. You want to utilize that wall to your advantage, or maybe even as a movement to somehow, like, you know, if you needed to be lifted up to get on the top of the bridge, you could do that as well. There's so many uses for this, but this right here is just not the one. But let me know in the comment section below if you disagree. Again, everyone's got their own play styles, and I'm always open to talk about this. All right, my job right now is literally just to focus the crap out of my tank. My tank's playing very aggro. I know my tank's gonna play aggro. They played aggro last game as well. I'm gonna go ahead and try my best to get this Junkrat taken care of. He does a great job escaping and getting to his healer. Again, I probably, to be 100% honest, spent too much time on that Junkrat. I could have killed him if I would have launched that purple orb, but I didn't, because I knew that I'm gonna need that orb to get some heals off. So if I'm in healer mode as a Zarya player, I should have just jumped right back off, gotten down here to heal. Luckily, my teammates didn't die. Luckily, I was able to orb them in time, but you know, that's a lucky thing. We got real lucky right there. So use my mistake to your advantage and learn from it. Again, at the end of the day, it's getting better at games is just learning from your mistakes and the mistakes of others. I'm trying my best to heal the Hanzo. Zarya goes in now. Look at the main wall. You see it? This is exactly what I'm talking about. So, you know, maybe she was trying to do it the first time. Maybe she learned from her mistakes, but her launching that, let me see if I can get it. Her launching that wall right there literally trapped our Zarya and put us in a bad spot. Now, I kind of panicked right here, didn't know what to do just because they needed healing. She needed healing. In my head, I thought if I maybe break to the right, cut through the building, there's no way I would have healed her in time. So I didn't do that. Also, I would have put myself at a disadvantage and to a 1v3 once she died. So I just decided to stick here. You see me kind of make a different adjustment. I go to jump over and I'm like, nah. I'm gonna stay right here, launch some heals off on my other teammate, get some DPS going on. I missed that, unfortunately. If I would have landed that orb, I would have pushed her and probably killed her. Now, Morias are very, very good at 1v1ing other support players because we have the orb, which we can heal ourselves, or we can use it to do more DPS and basically double dose the DPS. Now, as supports, the last thing you ever want to do is tank the tank. Bail back, allow your DPS to try their best to get it off, and just go back into healing mode. If you're blowing through squads, every tip I'm giving you guys can go out the window. If your team is just animalistic and the enemy team is a bot, and you know it happens, just blow through them. But right now, this is a very competent enemy team. They're doing better than us in the scores. They're doing better than us in the game. So we're trying to really lock it in. And I'm trying to read my squad to see exactly what I can do to bring more of a value to them. Now that shift jump right there, if you time it right, you can really elevate your body pretty high and jump on most bridges or high grounds. I was a little too close to that, so I didn't get enough oomph in my jump. All right, going back into healing mode. Again, the Mei wall doing a good job trying to trap our Zarya, but I go ahead and just blow my ult to get some heals off because I know that our tank's in a very rough spot. Now, a lot of Moiras will use that ult for what? They'll use it for kills, and by all means, wax lobbies. I'm 100% down for that. But again, you know, it's debatable. Could I have orbed them? Maybe. Zarya was basically 2-tap. So is our Reaper. So I just made the educated decision to go ahead, blow it to heal both of them. Unfortunately, Reaper dove back in and instantly died. Don't do that, guys. If you're in a spot like this when it's 5v3, basically it's just us three, just hold. There's no reason for the Reaper to dive in and try to tank everybody. You're a Reaper, you're not a tank. Really good Reaper players can do shit like that, but they're smart enough to know when to bail away, regroup. As a Reaper, if he would have come back inside, gotten on the bridge to the right-hand side and jumped behind the enemies, it could have played a lot better. He could have forced them back. He could have got a pick. There's so many outplay abilities he could have had right there. And here, I'll go ahead and show you guys. We're talking a lot, but I'm not really showing you guys. So when he dove back in, you see what happened. Mei walled him, and he instantly got screwed. And again, like I was saying, if he just would have come back in after I healed him with the ult, gotten up here, gotten on the bridge, he could have had so many people vulnerable. Granted, I don't recommend diving down on him, but maybe pop some shots off, maybe poke the enemy from behind, maybe split these enemies and have somebody, you know, push you so that instead of a 4-stack pushing 3 of us, maybe a 2-stack pushes 3 of us. You know, basically misdirecting the enemy's focus. A lot of people love the chase, especially in bronze and silver lobbies. So utilize that to your advantage. But you know, man, Reaper players, and no shots at all of them. Y'all know who I'm talking about. A lot of you guys are good out there, but you know damn well a lot of Reaper players out here just sucking it up and relying on that ult to do all the kills. Reaper's a very good character if you use them even half-assed decently. Unfortunately, I've been seeing a lot of people throw. Granted, Snow really didn't do that bad in the game, so I'm not throwing shots at Snow. I'm more or less speaking from like I remember past games and having Reapers standpoint. When I see Lucio as a Moira, oh, that's it. I'm eating your lunch. Luckily, he got back over here, so it put me in a bad spot. But like I was saying, when I see a Lucio as a Moira player, and again, this is something you need to know with the characters you play. I always recommend, and I'm going to say this real quick, and then I'm going to stop pausing it and not doing anything. I want to talk about this real fast. You guys need to master your characters before you get inside of a ranked game. You need to master at least 3 of your class. 3 supports if you're a support player, master 3 DPS if you're a DPS player, and master 3 tanks if you're a tank player. Why 3? Well, I always say 2, that way if someone picks one of your characters, you have the other one. So what if you pick a character and your other support happens to play your second? Well, just like me, I had to switch from Lucio to Moira. If for some reason I didn't know a third, I wouldn't have that ability to switch. Granted, always master all of them. That's the dream. You want to be a better player across the board, but so many times you'll just have these Reaper mains, these Genji mains. I mean, honestly, just no shots to anybody. All these players that just stick with one character and they never excel. Those are the guys that rage quit in the middle of a rank match because they can't play, Hanzo because someone else picked Hanzo. These are the players that can't adapt if Hanzo's getting shit on. If the enemy's Hanzo or enemy's Widow is just picking him, he'll thug through it and just keep getting crapped on and literally go 3-30. Guys, master 3 characters before you dive into a ranked game, please. Too many times I'm playing ranked, I see players on my team dropping donuts. I'll have 20,000 damage like I did in this game, or 20,000 heals like I did in this game, and I'll have players on my squad drop 0 kills, 4 kills, 5 kills. There's no reason for that. I know everyone wants to be a high ranked player for sure, but master your characters in pubs first, please. Not just for your sake, but for ours. So right here we are on the bridge. Now this is a good spot. Our Ana's doing a decent job preventing them from healing, but our Ana's not doing enough heals herself. You'll see me really just kind of carrying all the heals. I'm trying my best to stay close to my tank to put some heals with my hand on her while I'm able to spam her with the orb, just basically double dosing because she is a primary focus. So you'll see me get close to the enemies, utilizing my shift to bail away if I need to. And again, Lucio, don't ever dive a Moira that's competent. Just not a good move. D.Va and Mei doing a good job diving on the point the last second. The ult's coming in, I bail away. I'm gonna launch an orb because of my distance from my team. Almost got D.Va, unfortunately not enough. Now I need to stop doing damage and focus on heals. This is a mistake I make, and I get tunnel vision like the rest of you guys. It is a 3v2. Our team is nowhere near us. We might have an Ana behind us, but Snow and Phil haven't even spawned yet, so they're nowhere near getting close to us. At this point, we need to play our lives. Let's see how this unfolds. I panicked right there. I launched the damage orb, and then I launched my ult. Now, the reason for my ult was what? Apparently nothing, because Mei launched hers too. So because I missed the orb, I instantly just decided to ult to not only do damage to the enemies, but to mainly heal my tank. I was able to go ahead and get 2 kills from it. Thankfully, unfortunately, Mei threw the ult. If Mei wouldn't have had her ult, this would have been a massive benefit for us. But on the flip side, Mei doesn't have her ult now. So is it a good thing? Debatable. We are down 3 people now. Now look what's going on right now. This right here is the moment you all relink, group up. So many times, and I'm getting passionate because this happened a lot today. So many times you'll see people going in and just soloing. First, like, this isn't really a good example because this works out, but how many times are you guys playing ranked and you're all spawning in, you're trickling in one at a time, Reaper goes in, dies, and then Genji goes in, dies, and then the tank goes in and dies, and the supports aren't even at the fight yet. Just be very, very careful when you're deciding to dive on a point when your team's not with you. Again, utilizing the orb to my advantage, and boom. Now, the Hog really messed up going for the hook right there when he was already getting 1v3, or yeah, 1v3 or 3v1. Instead of popping his shields or his health and bailing away, when he threw that hook, he instantly doomed himself to not being able to heal up. And it was an easy kill. It was an easy pick. Again, not really too sure about this. Now look, I'm not a Mei main at all by any stretch of the imagination. So if there is a Mei player watching this, please inform me of what this does. But from my mindset, if you guys are holding this choke point, right now there's only 2 of them, but eventually there's 4 here before they throw it up. In my eyes, you want to do damage to us and not allow to get closer. But because you shielded us, you again blocked visual. You can't damage us. Your tank's coming. Your DPS is coming. And you really can't do anything. So you're allowing us this free range of motion. This area right here is basically free. Not to mention, because y'all can't shoot us, now the rest of our team that happens to be lagging behind, coming back from spawn, they have a lot more time to get back to us to help us out. So I know it's a choke point, so I'm gonna try my best, I think, to hold on to my shield orb or my heal orb. That way I can get some heals off, because this is a rough spot. And again, I'm using I don't know if you guys see this, but I'm using the vehicle as protection from the enemies. Not really, just not to mention, again, the Mei wall, but I'm using this as protection. That way I can't get spammed from the right side. A lot of times I see healers, especially Moira healers, because if there's a Moira as a support, they're going to be aggressive. They just dive out in the open. That's how you get picked. And again, you don't worry about KD, but at the end of the day, as a support player, especially, you want to try to die as least as possible. That way, again, you're putting more heals on your team. Every time you die, that's 30 to 60 seconds. Your team is now without a healer, and it puts them in a bad spot. So, you know, I don't think supports carry the game by any stretch of the imagination, but without the healers, it makes the DPS's job a lot harder. All right, now let's touch on this overtime. This blew me away. I just couldn't believe it. So as you guys can see, we have 3 minutes. They have 1 minute. We should win this theoretically. Now, again, we know Snow. Snow was the May that was kind of doing questionable stuff. Not a bad player. Definitely has a lot of work. But you see them going in. Again, we need to hold this spot right here. There's no reason for us to really get too aggressive, and luckily we don't. Except for now. This is that moment that I've been talking about. You know, Reapers have the ability to teleport, but sometimes you just don't need to be teleporting. One, he doesn't have his ult, so I think him diving behind enemy lines, which is absolutely ridiculous. The moment he does, if they're calming, if the enemies are even paying attention, they're going to turn around and instantly focus him. It's not a good sight. Just from right here, it's a 1v3, assuming that Reinhardt turns around without the Mercy included. And of course, there's the Reinhardt coming a little bit back to help the team out, and he's able to get away. Now, the problem with what he did was, in order to save him, our tank had to really scoot up a lot more, put herself vulnerable. I'm spamming heals at her, but unfortunately, I'm not able to do it fast enough, and we're down a healer, right? So we need to think about our team comp in general. When Reaper dives in, she was already dead. So there's really no reason for them to dive in. I have to heal the whole squad. I can't come over there to heal you. You have to hopefully be able to come back to us without dying. And again, just puts us in a weird spot. There's really no reason. Just hold this edge, hold this angle, and just keep playing. Now, if you're a Moira player, you kind of know what to do. If you're new to Moira, you might not. If you see me right there, I'm spamming my heal out my hand. Again, I'm not using the exact terms because a lot of you guys watch are newer players. You don't know what the terms are. So if I'm saying healing out my hand instead of the actual name of it, just forgive me. If I'm saying, you know, I utilize my jump, just again, forgive me. I'm trying to speak in a more leveled out way for newer players. But basically, when you're doing your basic heal, it drains, right? Well, you'll notice that while my team's getting damaged, I'm siphoning life from the enemy. What that does is it builds it back faster. You see it just jumping up as opposed to being idle. Now, the reason for that is to build it up so I can basically spam and in essence, throw your healing orb, and then you're going to drain enemies for their health and then spam with your hand heal as well. And again, the fact that our tank had died, Reaper goes back in. Reaper's just kind of playing reckless right there, big time. And we threw. Ana's AFK, just sitting there. They're capturing the point, and now it's time to regroup, right? All right, so look, normally I don't mind players, especially tanks, jumping on the point to try to hold it and prevent them from capping, right? But they've already capped it. They've already controlled it. Again, this is overtime. You basically want it to not allow them to push as far as they can. That way, when it's your turn, you can push further. Our tank goes in by herself first. Instantly gets melted. Our Junkrat starts getting damaged, smart enough to bail away and just poke, and that's all Junkrat needs to do. So our Zarya, our tank right there, really just shit the basket. Shit the bed, I should say. No one's out there shitting baskets, but really just kind of threw. So Reaper and Zarya just kind of making two huge mistakes. And again, I'm not perfect, but this overtime was an easy win. There's really no reason for us to be struggling right here. Again, Zarya going just balls deep. I'm trying my best to put some heals on them. Again, using my jump to get out of the dodge. Again, spamming the heals. Now look, I physically cannot heal faster than they can do damage. We talked about this earlier. The reason why I didn't jump off the bridge the first time when we were pushing was because I can't heal fast enough. And I'm actually in chat right now telling him, like, he's saying, wow, thanks a lot. He's basically said something to the healers like, man, what the frick. So I had to let him know, I'm like, bro, I literally can't heal fast enough. I have cooldowns. I used the orb. I was using my hand. I did everything I possibly could. You went in way too hard. I'm all for dive tanks. I love aggressive tanks, but you guys have got to just be calm and wait for your squad to be there. If you're a tank and you have a healer, and you're jumping into a 2v5, essentially, you're going to lose probably every time. I wouldn't even say most of the time. I think every time, whether you're a bad player, a good player, you're going to die. You're going to get absolutely dogged on because, again, you're the only one doing damage and you're fighting 5 players that can also do damage. All right, so you see the outlines. I want you guys to watch how they hold it as opposed to us. You know, whether we blow through it or not, they still had a better idea. They're throwing pokes out there. I'm just casting some heals. They got the Bastion set up on the corner. They got the Reinhardt shield. That is a way more effective way to hold a corner. And they got Junkrat spamming stuff too. And again, I'm using orbs. I'm out of hand healing. I promise you guys, once players start learning this game, I'm gonna start using the correct names. I apologize. But I'm gonna try my best to get the heals off as fast as I could. Now look, if you are down that bad, here, let's just, there's actually a lesson right here. As a support main, you guys have got to be out here doing the things that you need to be doing. I'm putting as much heals on my tank as I can, and then I look over here and look what I see. Now you might be wondering what the hell's going on. Why are you so upset? Well, let's just go ahead and look. One of them's an Ana. You're playing Ana. You've got a Hanzo literally right next to you. And you're doing damage. Guys, look, as a support player, you by all means have the right to do damage, but you better be healing your squad. I am a support main. As a support player, I'm telling you guys, heal your damn squad. Otherwise, this is gonna happen. Look at that. Oh, look who came over to save the day. Granted, I couldn't make it in time for poor Hanzo. Rest in peace, brother. But I was able to save the other support player. All right, so we're trying our best to push. Now, I know I'm gonna have to make a jump. For some reason, we're not pushing enough. Everyone's playing real scary, mostly because we basically only have, I wouldn't say one healer, but our Ana's really not doing too much. You can tell they're still learning Ana. They're trying to get their accuracy up with their shots. We haven't seen any stuns, I don't think at all, this entire match, now that I think about it. And Reinhardt just comes through and absolutely has his way with everybody. Now, earlier in the chat, I was typing, this is an easy win, GG's, we got this, just focus up, right? We had 3 minutes, the enemy team had 1 minute. Now, all of a sudden, it's not looking too hot. So I'm gonna make a wild decision here. And I'm gonna go around the entire map and try my best to distract the enemy and capture the point. Unfortunately, for some odd reason, their team was already on the point. I don't know if they read that or what. But here's Moira, and you know, the rest is history. We basically threw this game because of just lack of teamwork. And honestly, I don't really put it on the tank. The tank didn't do bad. He threw a few times, but overall, I give him a solid 8 out of 10. The other support player, I give myself an 8 out of 10 as well. The other support player, though, I gotta give them a straight 4 out of 10, maybe a 3 out of 10. Didn't really do much DPS. They definitely out DPS their own heals, but they didn't do any heals, any at all. They did 4,000 healing this entire time. I think 19,000 healing, so I needed a little bit of help. I need a little bit of just teamwork. Our healer, in my opinion, threw that game for us. And again, you're not going to win them all, unfortunately. It is what it is. If you are a player out there that knows you're making mistakes, learn from the mistakes. If you're a player out there that thinks you're perfect and you're losing all your games and you're not, you know, especially if you're a support player, not dropping a bunch of heals. As a support player, my goal is to always out heal my teammate. Always. If the other healer is out healing me, I'm pissed off and I'm focusing up even harder. Granted, I'll still do damage, but that's my mission. So if you're a support character, try to outdo other support, and I promise you guys, you will have a more successful game. As a healer, if you guys can heal your DPS can then support the tank with damage, and then the tank can go in and do other things. A lot of times this match, we watched the tank basically solo everything because our DPS couldn't do anything because I couldn't heal everybody. I tried, I just couldn't. But guys, look, I really hope you enjoyed the gameplay. This was a bronze match. I'll be coming out with a silver match next week, so make sure you guys like the video and leave a subscription on the channel if you guys want some more tips and tricks, and also just to watch gameplay and some funny moments with the shorts. But guys, until next time, man, y'all have a good one. And guys, focus up, work as a team, and get more wins. Get that rank up, boys.